My name is Robert Foley, and I'm Professor of Human Evolution at the University of Cambridge. And my interest in human evolution are broad. I'm interested in the patterns and processes which turned an ape-like creature, into humans as we know them today. Extraordinary species, extraordinary individuals and populations, able to colonize the world, able to make the most amazing tools and technology to live at very high population densities, and of course to create all the cultural and scientific achievements of the last few millennia. In trying to answer questions about human evolution, one of the answers that seems to come up again and again is, why is Africa so important? And it's a question that many people think, this is very odd. We have a whole world for humans to evolve in, and yet whenever you listen to stories of human evolution, it's Africa that lies at the core. So why Africa? Well, it was Darwin himself who wrote in his book on the evolution of humans, one of the reasons that we should expect Africa to be so important, and that is that humans, and by definition our ancestors, have a very close affinity with the African apes in particular. Darwin pointed out that, on the whole, closely related species tended to evolve in the same area, and so he suggested Africa as the probable place where humans evolved. And everything that we've done since, in terms of finding fossils and increasingly using genetics, has demonstrated this. We now know that humans are specifically closely related to chimpanzees. In fact, chimpanzees are more closely related to humans than they are to gorillas, and that the separation of the ancestors of chimps and humans took place probably somewhere between 5 and 7 million years ago. And because both species occur in Africa, it's in Africa that those origins lie. So 5 million years or so ago, we would expect to find the first hominins. We would expect to find creatures more like us than like chimpanzees. And, 90 or more years of research in Africa has demonstrated this very clearly. Right back to the 1920s, when Raymond Dart found the first Australopithecines in Africa, in South Africa, through to the work of Lewis and Mary Leakey, and now Richard and Neve Leakey, and many others, Tim White in Ethiopia, we know that the record of humans in Africa is deep and very extensive. So, for example, the first Australopithecines, things that look like upright walking apes, something like us, occur over 4 million years ago. The earliest evidence we have for anything at all outside sub-Saharan Africa is less than 2 million years ago. So we have this strong evidence for long African endemism, as it's called. That's the place where humans belong. And you might think, well, okay, the origins linked to the apes lie in Africa. Why should Africa play other parts? We know, for example, that the genus Homo, the one most closely related to us, the one that begins to show larger brains, evolves in Africa around about 2 million years ago. And then most excitingly of all, our own species, Homo sapiens, also has an African origin. Now that, of course, is at a time when there are hominids in other parts of the world. So it's possible that we could have evolved in Asia or in parts of Europe, but we didn't. So why Africa? And the answer this time is not just, in a sense, where our ancestral populations were, but also to do with the ecology and nature of Africa. Africa is a very large continent, much larger than all the other continents, much more habitable. So in one sense, it's always had large populations, so therefore a greater chance that things will happen there. It's also warm, it's in the tropics, so it's less subject to the massive climatic changes of glaciation and deglaciation, when populations were simply unable to survive, and so they disappeared. In Africa, they shifted, they moved, they grew, they shrank in relation to climate change, but they obviously persisted, and so you have this continuity. And then the other thing is that Africa is a rich environment, and parts of it, particularly East Africa, it's a rich environment where the rift valleys create fertile soils, create lakes, create the grassy environments in which large numbers of mammals could live. So in a sense, the ecological conditions, the right amount of change, the right amount of stability, the right amount of resources, prompt and promote evolutionary novelty. And humans, probably along with many other species, have their origins there. So throughout our evolutionary history, right back to the apes, Africa seems to be central. And so we continue to work in Africa, searching for more and more fossils. Now, having said, of course, that Africa is central, perhaps I can just finish by saying that doesn't mean that other areas are not important or not interesting. It's just the questions we ask there are rather different. In Africa, we might want to know about origins and speciation and the evolution of novelty. In Europe, particularly in the cold periods, and in Asia, we want to know about colonization. We want to know about how populations adapt to very challenging new environments, and we want to know about extinctions and replacements. So the nice thing is that even though one might say, well, Africa is important, every part of the world offers unique questions about human evolution.